Hey guys, this is Chris Saville from chrissaville.com, and I am working on another edit today. Now, as I usually do, I don't really go over the Lightroom part because it's pretty simple stuff there, in my opinion. Basically, here is the before and after. Here is the before. And here is the after. A little drastically different, but a little much more contrasty. Of course, as you see here, it's a little more muted, neutral. Because I do shoot in a slightly neutral profile on my camera. A little more contrast on the profile I do shoot on. And here is the edit on the Lightroom. Now, I can't show you what I'm going to. I can't really like circle things I immediately want to fix in Photoshop, at least on Lightroom. So I'm going to just show it in Photoshop here. Alright, I'm back on Photoshop now. I'm just going to circle the things I'm going to definitely fix out. From what I could see, I could definitely fix out this. That's way too big. I'm just going to take that out. I do want to take this out, but that's way too big. It'll probably take like 10 hours worth of work or composite, and I don't really do that type of editing. What else here? I might blend that in over there with the color, because it's too. That little line right there is really annoying. And what else? Everything looks pretty good. I might clean up the hair a tiny bit, but not too much. But I'll definitely fix out the gonna definitely fix out the lips a little bit. If you see here, the teeth is shining through. Not noticeable when it's in full view, definitely not. But I always edit to where it's printed on either on a regular magazine cover or a very large print, which would definitely show the imperfections, tiny imperfections like that, and I make sure it's as perfect as I possibly can, because I am more of a pixel peeper retoucher, and I edit little tiny things like this would be out of it, this would be out of it. Maybe that line right there and that line. Definitely that. Definitely that. So this is why I go through my mentality, but I normally just I don't look at it right away, like right now. I just let it go, let it flow, just like a painter would. Just let it flow sometimes, and just not methodically think about it not overthink about it, just because it it will just destroy me if I overthink it. Let's start that little tiny cleanup right now. I don't usually do cleanup right away. I normally do dodge and burn. But since I actually found it, the imperfections I want to get out of there right away. Just get that out of the way. Might as well before I forget. That I'm just gonna speed this up right now because I have nothing else really to say right now. I'm just doing that little cleanup as I did pick out earlier. Bringing the speed back from there. I'm thinking about removing this. I'm thinking about removing this whole pole right there if I can, but it's not likely it will work out with the information around it. I'll try. It doesn't hurt to try. Oh, that's garbage. Maybe a little bit. Make it a little shorter. It's a little better. Definitely have to fix that. Let's see if we can make it shorter. Oh god, that's so garbage. That's so garbage. I might just leave it like that actually. It'd be too much pain in the ass to do the whole thing. And I don't want to, like, you know, say I don't do work, but like you have to measure the pros and cons of doing a certain retouching. Is it really worth spending an hour to remove this little pole right here? You know? It really depends. It's a personal project, it's not really a client, but I do treat every image, whether it's a client or not, as, you know, my art and gold, basically, of who I am and what I do. But I have to weigh the options on spending X amount of time on certain things in one image, just because time is very valuable. And I have to spend it in other things, especially when it's very, very limited. But right now, it doesn't look too bad, but let's see if I could just move out the gradient in this. Before, after, before, after. So a lot more, less distractions, basically. At least I see those as distractions. Those tiny things that most people won't see it as distractions, but I do. Obviously, this huge thing, as I mentioned before, on the left, I really don't like it, but what can I do? You know, there's not much I can do, at least with my current abilities, and, you know, not a huge fan of compositing, so it's very limited. Let's see if we get into dodge and burn. It's live. Alright, let's go here. Alright, so now we're going to do some dodge and burn selectively. Now, this image doesn't need much of it, honestly, because I really do like where most of the shadows is landing and highlights, except for the our right, her left leg. The highlights is a little displeasing a little bit. I'm not too sure yet. I'm going to see if I do like it by filling in those highlights and make it as shadows. Now again, I might not like it. I'll just delete it. No big deal. It shouldn't take too long at all. Let's see here. Hit the curves and get that down. I might have to go down a lot. Oh, Jesus, that's not gonna happen. So it looks like this happens sometimes, unfortunately. That highlight that highlight I want to get rid of, at least with dodge and burn. It's not gonna happen. So I'll see what I can do on the skin retouching part. See if I could fix that or not. If I like it or not. See if it works. But right now, let's continue the dodge and burn. This would be my darks. I might actually like it like this, but I'm not sure yet. Might go back to it. And these are my lights. Alright. Gotta make sure you label. Or else we'll forget which one's which. Let's work on the highlights first. Alright, let's work on the highlights first. Let's see here. I do intend to do skin retouching, so ignore that. And I might, it doesn't look like I will need frequency. Doesn't look like I will need frequency separation. Maybe for her left leg at most. Actually, right leg might actually need it. Looks like. So you might play with it in her legs a little bit, but her face doesn't look blotchy at all. Maybe very, very minimal on the forehead. That's it. So let's add some highlights. I like to emphasize the highlights on the hair a lot in my shots. It just makes it pop a little bit better. And sometimes I overdo it. It's a little too bright right now. I might actually just bring it down with the occupancy. I might bring it down with the opacity. Let's see here. Actually, I don't know what I forgot. All right, that's the highlights on the hair. Little emphasis. Let's bring it out. See how it looks. A little pop. All right. So we got the highlights for the hair. As you see right there. I'm gonna probably bring the highlights from the dress. It looks like. Let's just think to really emphasize the dress in fashion photography is important. I might actually, to bring out the gold in this dress a little bit more, I might do that just because it's really important to bring out the dress. I might I might play with the color mixer or the hue saturation, specifically bring out the yellows and selectively bring out the yellows in this dress. But as of right now, dodge and burn, I did bring it out a little bit, a little more emphasis. I want some gold in there, like a little more pump, a little more oomph on the gold. What we're gonna do here, we're gonna work on. It looks like the highlights is done in this shot. Did get the dress and the hair. Little more oomph, basically. The shot, yeah. I might actually play with the overall ambient light to make it maybe a touch, just a touch darker. Might do that, but not right now because we're doing dodge and burn, and it's more specifically on the model and very specific areas, not like the whole thing though. But it doesn't look like I need to do any darkening on the shot. Everything just looks just right on the darks. Yeah, I might actually brighten this up. Actually, this little. Let's see if it's doing it. I do want to make this darker, but not that dark where it's like really noticeable. So this is gonna be like not gonna happen. I'm gonna fix that later. Alright, looks like I didn't really need to do any darks on this. So I'm just gonna probably just end up deleting it because I'm gonna actually convert. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna convert it into a full layer now out of the whole thing. Let's see what we can do on the background. Let's see here. Just a touch. Actually, -9 was actually pretty good. Not a huge fan of darkening the darks on her specifically, so I'm going to definitely mask it. Actually, let's do this little trick I learned a while ago. That's not it. There we go. It's basically adding somewhat vignette. I don't like the way it's doing that much though. Like on the wide side. More like, oh wait, that's way too hard. Gotta get the softness. There we go. See there? It's not bad. It's not too bad at all. She really pops from the scene, and that's what I like in my style of editing. Yeah. Now, how are we going to get gold from that dress? The easiest way that I know, honestly, because I'm not a master at using color mixers, and I don't really find gold or yellows too often in the hue saturation, but I'll definitely check out the hue and saturation. Let's actually label this just in case. Get that hue and saturation. The colors, oh, maybe yellow right there. Let's see. Nope, that's way too crazy. I got to actually zoom in. Gotta see that. The noticeable difference. See, that's crazy, obviously. Wait. Obviously, around everything around the dress is just disgusting, obviously, but looking at specifically at the highlights on the dress right now, and I'm just gonna mask the rest. That might actually work. Now, as you see, everything is gone again, but I'm just gonna selectively bring it back on. I can't even see what's going on. Can't even see it. I'm gonna bring it back on the dress. Bring the golds. Thing is, what I'm worried about is it might bring out the blues, and I'm not a fan of the blue on this dress, because some black dresses has some blue in it, and I think this one does. Yeah. Alright, we're going to leave that off for now. And I'll make a copy of that one underneath it. Just want to see and compare it with the other option I was thinking of, which is a photo filter and make it gold like that. Not that much, but enough. And then mask it. Let's see here. See, that's what I like a lot better actually, because it's bringing out the gold. The crappy part is that the gold parts on this, the non-gold parts on the dress, it's gonna be warmed up unless I go really close, and I don't want to spend too much time on making it the parts, the shiny parts gold. That's good. It's a lot better than the other option. Yeah. This one's much more actual gold, and it's not bringing out the super saturation around the gold, where it's like dark blue. I don't want to bring out the dark blues in this. I like the black and gold better. All right, we got the gold emphasized here. Let's see before and after of the whole thing, actually, where we compressed. Let's see before and after of where we got up to. Let's just turn off all of these. Leave the first one on. Before, after, before, after, before, after. I think it looks good. Let's see from far away. Before, after. Yeah, definitely a lot better. Yeah, definitely like it a lot better. Let's do some skin retouching and other repairs. Let's see if this looks weird or not. No, it's not bad. Let's actually get a little closer. Let me just fix this part and that's it. Better. Don't want to do that. Alright, so skin retouching, it's pretty basic. Healing brush. I use healing brush and I use spot healing brush where it's like content and wear. And I sometimes use clone sap, very rarely on skin. And I'm just going to speed this part up because it's very repetitive. It's pretty straightforward, you know, just tap and go, sample, stuff like that. You should just, as you know, this video is actually meant for intermediate and advanced levels. Just looking for, you know, the whys of what I do, and you know, you can learn from the why instead of the how-to. The how-to I definitely recommend, again as before. Go to PHLEARN, PHLEARN. It's probably the biggest YouTube Photoshop channel there is, I think. Like millions of subscribers. Definitely recommend. As you watch it right now, I'm just doing a little tiny touch-ups on the side that I just noticed. It's bothering me. Alright, let's get back to the model. Alright, so speed up right now. now we're gonna do is frequency separation. So we just finished all the skin retouching, at least most of the skin retouching, and we're just gonna fix the blotchiness from the frequency separation, and then we might touch it up a little bit more a little bit more skin retouching. So this is skin 1 right there. All right, let's get this action running. Now I'm just gonna fast forward this process because it's more of a why, and as most of you should already know, this technique, frequency separation, and I'm just gonna select, go over it very quickly, not too long. Just take the lasso, yeah, that's the one. So I'm just gonna take my lasso and just move this over there. Go on to a blur tool, before, after, much better. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to speed it up because this might take some time. Alright, now we just finished frequency separation. Now we're going to go back into doing some minor touch-ups on the skin again. Just because the frequency separation didn't catch it, or I just noticed it at the last second. Now I'm just going to speed this up. Alright guys, I just finished up the last touch up on the skin, and it looks like I did complete the edit. Let's see here, is there anything missing? No. Now let's see the before and after. I'm just going to deselect all of them except for the background, which is the original, and now we'll see. Now, it's the first time I'm seeing it too, so excited. Alright, before, after, before, after. Obviously the before, just keep in mind that's after Lightroom, so it's not like huge difference. The Photoshop edits is more to emphasize little micro areas, except for the certain things like, you know, the dress. It's much more, the highlights I did push it up more. Alright, let's go over each layer, as I did explain most of it during the thing. Alright, let's turn off all of them and then just go from there. Alright, the first one is going to be basically distractions that got me instantly, basically as soon as I saw it in Photoshop. Then I went on to the highlights, put more highlights into the dress and into the hair, and then went into the background, made it a little more darker, basically. Then went into goldening the dress a little bit more, bringing out that gold, a little bit more emphasis on that gold, and that came out. And then skin retouching, you won't be able to see it here unless we zoom in right there, especially in the legs. I did most of it right there, as you see it. It's before and after. And then went to frequency separation, and then went to skin too, of whatever the skin, whatever the frequency separation didn't get, basically, or missed. And that's it. Looks like that's done. So any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, send it down to the comments below. And if you want to subscribe, I think you should do it. If you like it, subscribe. Peace out, guys. Share, like, whatever. Later.